Another fun week, and thank you for joining us for the Agent Boost podcast. Another special guest coming at you. Do we have two special guests?
Yeah, shut up, dude.
I'm just kidding, Brian. No, we got, I always have to give Brian a hard time, but we got Demetri. If you would, introduce yourself, your name, your title, who you're with.
Demetri Simos, AVP of Sales with Guarantee Trust Life Insurance Company, or otherwise known as GTL.
And what was it? It's not on the East Coast. It is not.
Oh, not Jim Tan Laundry.
It is not that. Okay?
It's not that.
With GTL, it's been fun, kind of coordinating this episode with Demetri. For those of, and I would say Demetri is a very well-known person in our industry. If you're at any of the industry events, right, any of the conventions, the big national conferences, really, yeah, I would say Demetri, in many ways, you're the face of the company in many ways, right? Well,
thanks for saying that. Hopefully I can do the company proud.
Did that? Maybe this will get you a pay raise even further, right? You're the face of the company.
I won't hold my breath.
No, I'm just kidding. So, but Demetri is the guy that you will always see at a lot of the different industry events, at the conventions, asked to speak and do a lot of trainings. We're extremely knowledgeable. So we appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So we were excited about this to get him out here because, just kind of the tone, the time of the year, the industry, everything that's happening. I think ancillary products in general, add-ons are becoming much more of a focal point, whether agents and brokers are selling Medicare products or ACA or like whatever, those bundling and cross-selling of products is very important from the bottom line. So if you could, I can't remember off the top, like GTL has been around since 1933?
36, very close.
1936. Could you walk us through a little bit more about GTL, if you could, the history, what kind of makes it different from a lot of the competitors and such?
Sure. Guarantee Trust Life has been in business now for 88 years as a family-run business.
It's incredible.
You don't see that.
Yeah, it's unheard of, really.
They've not been swallowed up by
exactly.
acquisition or private equity or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great story. The family that founded the company is the person that founded the company is Richard S. Holson. And today we're being led by the third generation of Holsons. And our current chairman, president, and CEO of the company is Rick Holson. And quite honestly, we were very fortunate that we had Rick at the helm of the company over the last 15 years. That he's been really been able to help direct us and guide us to be in the position that we're in today. We're a medium-sized company. We have about 300 employees at the home office in Glenview, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. Mm-hmm. And, our strength as GTL is, for sure, from your perspective as distribution, is our products. Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. We have a wide array of products available for the senior market in particular. But the bigger strength, I think, that we have as a company is the staff. The tenure of the staff that we have. From a sales perspective, there's 3 of us on the sales side that have been in the company for 20 years plus.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a long time.
That's a long time.
You know where all the bodies are buried. You know what I mean?
From an agent's perspective, we've got a sales support team that have a tremendous amount of tenure there. So the amount of knowledge that when an agent calls in to ask a question can get an answer quickly and accurately is really important from that perspective. From a client's perspective, when we're calling in the customer service, there's a lot of folks that have a lot of tenure there. So, and a lot of other departments have a lot of tenure also, but these are the touch points that you guys will really interact with that really, I think what makes us different as GTL from everybody else out there that, you call in, you don't get a phone tree.
Right.
You get a person that answers the call.
Right.
Which is huge.
Even agent support, too.
Well, and I would just 2 things that you even mentioned, too, that you didn't even bring up, but I would actually even say over time, like if you look back, especially over the last 10 years, when you guys you've really grown significantly over the past decade, 2 decades, and you now have more brand awareness, I would say, at least, because, GTL doesn't go direct to consumer. It's not the model, DTC. You run through distribution. And if you're in the insurance distribution space, everybody now knows who GTL is. It's a very well-known brand that's got a lot of trust now to the name, guarantee trust. There's a lot of trust in the name and the company and that brand awareness that I think, year over year and each decade as it goes by, you guys win and benefit from that. And you maybe didn't have that 20, 30 years ago, a lot of that brand awareness. And now it's become a household name in the distribution space, which I think also helps.
Absolutely. I mean, back from a historical perspective, I mean, GTL has been in a number of different lines of business historically,
right?
But I started with the company in 2004, and when we started, it was primarily med sup and long-term care type of programs, and then
that NGL experiment, there,
and then then '05 came around, and this little word, MA came up, and that's where we created the first hospital indemnity plan that really matched up well with the Medicare Advantage product. And that's really was, to your point, is where we started kind of catapulting brand, the awareness about who GTL is in the senior market in particular. And throughout the years since '05, we just methodically kind of added additional products and additional services that, that you guys have come to expect.
Yeah, and maybe Dan can answer this because I've been doing Medicare sales about 13 years, and for as long as I can remember, hospital indemnity products have been included on the scope of appointment. Do you remember a time when it wasn't?
It was like other. It was considered like an other, like early days. But then again, we had no scope of appointments for a while. We did.
That's
we
right.
didn't. We did. We didn't. Now we're back. Now we have 48-hour rule. It's kind of. As the wind blows and the administration blows, there goes the policies, and so we'll see. But yeah, it's kind of been all over the place. If you can talk, we have brokers sometimes who ask us too, because you guys have a diverse product portfolio. I mean, for us and for a lot of brokers, we find that we're focusing in on like hospital indemnity and critical illness or cancer plans, but you guys have a broad portfolio. But sometimes brokers ask me and go like, well, why is it in my state or all 50 states or sometimes like that? Are you able to talk at all about sometimes what a pain it is and filing with DOIs and kind of how that works and why the footprints don't always, it's like, hey, it's just, we have a new product and it's all 50 states.
Especially for the Utah product here. That's a big pain point.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the individual health products, those are really, I guess, taken care of on a state-by-state basis. Mm-hmm. So there's no one, which is good. It's not, there's no one spot that you go to and say, okay, I want to get this approved. It's available in all states. So we have to go to each state, and then according to the regulations that each particular state has in the DOIs, Department of Insurances, then our folks, our talented folks over in compliance that put this together,
right?
Now they know what they can include and need to include, and what's allowable, not allowable. So, most of the states, I would say, are reasonable, and you can file and get some approvals and so forth. There's a handful. Yep. There's a handful of states out there.
You don't have to name names. I'm just saying
there's a handful that's has some different regulations and some different pain points that we may be able to accommodate and keep the product design true to what it's meant to be, and others that we just and if we can't, then we don't have it available in the state.
Right.
But at least you guys are able to adjust products on the fly to comply with the state regulations.
Yeah, exactly. Some states will have a outpatient surgical rider. Another state will not. They may be neighbors. There's no rhyme or reason in the same area. Why wouldn't they think the same thing? I don't understand. But in general, though, it's just you just got to look at. You always got to make sure you're looking at your state-dependent forms to determine what it is you can talk about with your particular client. And as long as you do that, stay compliant, stay under the radar for everything, and do it right, we're good.
Yep, and I think that's the only reason I wanted to bring that up. I think it's important as we have like a broad audience of listeners and agents, and that's one of the common, I don't know if you get it a lot in training, but it's like, well, I like this product, but it's only in these states and not these states, and how come and why? It's just not as easy, and I think part of my goal of the podcast is to educate brokers about that and go, look, they're attempting to. It's a lot of times, trust me, they want to sell volume, they want to sell product. It's usually just kind of jumping through the hoops and the regs of every state and being able to, again, like you said, comply with all the regs there, being able to get the product, and that's why it has to be modified. Because I get those questions too. Why is it different in this state versus that state? It's no different from like a med sup with birthday rule states versus non, and things like that. So I think it's important for agents to understand. The one thing I do like though is you have a product in just about every other state, in just about every state though, right? A product of some degree.
A product to some degree, with the exception of New York. We don't do business in New York at all.
I didn't call them out specifically, but yeah, they're a giant pain in my ass to do business with too. Like gigantic,
Like California, for example, we'll do life insurance there.
Yeah.
But we won't do health. But just because of the, it's a regulatory scenario that we can't make it work. But most states will have something.
Yep. And I would say, like, for our general agents, that we're talking to and dealing with on a regular basis, most of our agents either sell Medicare products or regular health insurance products like ACA, or both, right? And that's the combination. That's our typical agent. And then they're building a portfolio of other add-on products like, life insurance, final expense, the hospital indemnity, the critical, the dental, some annuity. That's what our typical broker looks like. And would you say that's kind of the profile of the typical agent of GTL as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the agents that we work with at GTL are going to be Medicare agents, probably heavier on the MA side, definitely talking hospital indemnity, talking cancer, talking short-term care. Short-term care has become a really big subject for the industry in general over the past year and a half or so. Then the Medicare agent now is also getting into more of a final expense scenario, having the conversations with their clients, because I think it's taken some time, but I think it's starting to sink in and kind of grab a hold of that. I can't just be a Medicare only type of producer.
Yeah, you're one trick agent, right?
Right.
That's a big problem in this industry, and a problem that I encounter almost weekly with agents here in the field and nationally is the fact that they ask, why am I losing so many clients? How can I get in front of my clients? Why are they leaving me? How do I do retention? My first thing that I tell them is, well, how many products do you have with this client? Do you have multiple products, or are you just a Medicare agent? Have you pigeonholed yourself into that? And that's 9 times out of 10, that's the answer.
Well, and I think, obviously, like long-term care, of course, everybody would love to have long-term care. I mean, that's something that always comes up. And, I'm talking to the agents that are out selling, and people are like, oh, Medicare doesn't cover long-term care. No, it doesn't cover long-term care. But I'm just thinking about like the product offerings you have with like the short-term care option out there. And I'm just thinking to myself, how often do agents even have the conversation? They're in the house, they're out of the house, or they're on the phone. They're talking about their core medical products, and they're only solving about half their problems, right? And they're not really talking to them about the gaps, their co-pays. They're not talking to them about like a care situation, like having short-term care. They're not even talking to them about life insurance and whether they have it. They're not talking to them about none of these things. A lot of times it's like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I got a Medicare sale and I'm out the door. And as I'm looking at the growing need that's going to have to happen for short-term care,
yes, and
I'm also looking at the big emergence of ACA selling that's really blown up in the marketplace the last 2 years, and people selling, high deductible plans, with a lot of exposure. I think that's a huge growth segment and opportunity for you all.
Even on the med sup side moving forward, that high deductible G is, we see all these med sup only agents. They're all pivoting to the high deductible G.
Right. I think from the consumer side, there's a huge demand for the products that you guys have. But then also when I look at everything that's going on in the Medicare industry right now, there's a lot of turmoil. It's been a chaotic year. We've talked about it ad nauseum on this podcast with different guests and people. It has been the most turbulent, tumultuous year that I've ever experienced in the business this year. I mean, things have been all over the board. And so, but what I tell people is the only thing that's, change is the only thing that's consistent, and it's going to keep changing. And, when we're thinking about, commissions being cut, reduced, increased, whatever else, I'm going, why not? One thing is control your controllables. Why not start incorporating other products in your sales presentation? Why not start, talking about these ancillaries and doing a couple things, not only cross-selling and increasing your stick rate, right? The clients that buy those and kind of bundle them together are going to stay around, right? But then the other thing is generate that extra commission to whether it be, maybe you're not just trying to line your pocket with it, but that money can actually go to increase your retention efforts, your marketing campaign, your lead generation, whatever other operational business expenses that you have. sell those products and use the revenue for that. You know, that's what I don't know what you typically train and teach agents about. That's my soapbox spiel as to like why you should be doing it, you know?
I mean, you're right on all those points, you know, and it was interesting. What caught my ear when you were talking was, you know, clients are asking about it. Consumers, I should say, are asking about it.
Yeah.
But you know what though? They don't know what the questions are to ask.
Right.
They have no idea. They may in their mind be thinking, you know what, I got this copay and I want to cover that, but I don't know how to ask that question.
Right.
So that's why in every single training we do, every single one of them, you know, we emphasize to the nth degree that it's upon us as advisors that we need to be presenting this information 100% of the time to every single client, no fail.
And what did you say in the training downstairs? Use this,
Yeah,
right?
use your mouth.
Use your mouth. You never get anything unless you ask for it.
I
Because
kind of,
just like you said, clients don't know what to ask.
yeah, I mean, I kind of always think of myself as a professional question asker.
Right.
You know, because the more questions I ask, it'll lead down a certain path, I'll go down another path. Don't know, but I'm going to learn something.
Yep.
And that learning that I might come up with could be the next product idea that I wouldn't know about. But that's why I like talking and asking the questions and having interactions with all the folks. But you know, when we're getting to those folks to be able to present 100% of the time, you're not going to have a better feeling in the world than when you know you're offering, you're presenting and closing and taking care of people. You're going to put your head down at night. You're going to sleep like a baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use the word assume, right? And my mom always says, if you assume, you're what? You're an ass, right? If you assume. And I think that both parties are guilty of it, like in the sales transaction where the broker assumes that when they explain like an ACA plan or a Medicare plan, they assume that that person understands what they're getting. And then I think a lot of times that person assumes, that consumer or client, they assume that certain things are covered. And then, or they buy a plan, they get coverage, and then 2 years, 3 years goes by, and they get in scenarios where they're like, oh, I just assumed, I thought this would be covered, or I didn't know that I would have this much expense. And so I think that's the one thing that I would convey to anybody listening is just make sure your clients understand exactly what they've gotten from you or what they have not received from you so that you can at least give them the option. We talk about the McDonald's and the drive-through and right, like the combo selling.
Like, fries with that.
I mean, it is not that hard to be like, hey, do you want to make it a combo meal? Do you want large or small fries? Did you want a milkshake instead? I mean,
16-year-olds are doing this.
yeah, I mean, come on. It sounds bad. Like, we're not trying to poo-poo on the agents out there, but yes, 16-year-old kids are doing this, and they would be a hell of a salesperson on the phone. You know what I mean? Just following that same process. And so I think, you know, and we also kind of joke that, you know, agents think that they're going to just be busy selling, you know, during open enrollment for ACA or AEP, and then they're going to circle back to their clients, and they just don't, right?
Yeah,
they have this great intention of doing it, and they don't, right?
The unfortunate piece about that, though, from that perspective, is you make the sale today on a hospital and on a Medicare Advantage plan, and you know, if it gets in effect, let's say September 1st,
Right.
and then you're going to go back to them at some point, maybe in December. Well, you just had 2 or 3 months there of exposure that they would get hospitalized and that they could have used, and then, or maybe they would have qualified. You know, there's other things that could happen. It gets really mucky at that point. And because I was talking today in the training about 85% of the sale for hospital indemnity can be done during the MA appointment itself. Not directly, but it's an indirect conversation because if you take your time instead of rushing,
you plant those seeds.
Plant the seeds. You're going to tell exactly how the story works. So in this way, you can tell them the conversation about if you're worried about having this copay for $1 or $2 a day a month, I can help you take care of it. Does that sound good? Well, now when you get done with the MA plan, they're all set. Now you can turn around and go, here's a nice little video, talk about hospital indemnity. You can understand how this works. This is what I recommend. 10, 15 minutes, you're done with the app, go on to your next appointment.
Well, you guys understand the agent mindset. That's why you have so much product and so many tools at the agent's disposal to use, whether it is, you know, at the same time as the Medicare Advantage appointment or, like Dan said, coming back after. But What was Dan say of who comes back?
You're going to put me on this. I'm going to get flack for this, but yes, I have a phrase that the only people who come back are Jesus and Santa Claus. And now I'm on the record saying it, and I'm already going to get lit up online probably, but whatever. It's true. I've said that many times. But yeah, now you've distracted me, Brian.
Oh,
no, but
sorry.
what I was going to say is on the hospital indemnity, I know the hospitalization is like the base of the policy, but I think the SNF is such a bargain too. I mean, I think that that's a benefit that does get utilized a lot. I mean, you talk to people who are in rehab centers, post knee surgery or whatever else. That's something that's used a lot. And for how cheap it is to add it onto the policy, it is a bargain, in my opinion.
Actually, to be honest with you, it doesn't get sold that much.
I would put it on. Now,
Surprisingly.
granted, I've been out of the field for a number of years, but every time I did when I was in the field, it was on everyone. I just presented it as like, it's doing this and it's also covering this. And I would calculate it and build it into the presentation with them. It was almost like it was such a good value and it was so cheap that there's no reason to not do it.
Yeah, why not make an extra $2,000 during your $0 copay time set, right, in that skilled nursing facility?
Yeah, and some of the things agents don't think about is like, look, when you're selling a plan, sometimes you're months out on the effective date on the Medicare plan or the AC, depending on the scenario. Mm-hmm. And with the hospital indemnity, the effective dates don't have to match up, and you can write that hospital indemnity quicker and have it be effective. And not only that, for people listening, get paid quicker because, like we're about to enter into fall too, where brokers sit here and bust their butts all of annual enrollment period, working from October through December, and they're not getting paid their commissions until January at best. I have some carriers that are not wonderful that pay AEP commissions around February or March sometimes. So people are 4 or 5 months without a paycheck. And so I'm going like, if you want some cash for Christmas, why don't you sell these products to your clients throughout the period? And, keep the lights on, so to speak, and get the cash flowing through,
Absolutely. It's kind of funny that I was just thinking, I don't know why I was thinking this, but you were talking about coming back. Mm-hmm. Obviously I don't believe that we should be coming back with hospital indemnity, that we should do it at the same time. But the coming back part is for those other products we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Maybe a lump sum cancer plan, short-term care, mm-hmm. life insurance, or anything else. It's kind of like a built-in calendar, if you want to call it that, where you can say at 6 months after the policy, after you wrote an MA, you call the client up and you say, hey, Mrs. Jones, how you doing? You doing great? How's the plan been treating you? Have you been hospitalized at all? Oh, no, great. Good to hear. If you have, did you make sure you sold them a hospital indemnity? Did you file it? Mm-hmm. Did you file the claim with that? Or if it's just seems to kind of be just a great hi, how you doing call, maybe it's that great opportunity to bring up some other product or opportunity, or at the very least, ask for referrals.
Right. Yeah. It's a good reason to call them. I mean, touch points are good. I tell agents all the time, and I talk about this. Yes, I've actually sold products. I've done it for a lot of years. But, if you're not doing something, get in your Rolodex, so to speak, get your client, just start making calls. You could have a day where instead of watching Sports Center in the middle of the day, if you're a broker, spend 2 hours and just start calling some of your clients, having a conversation, having a reason. And I guarantee you, if you just do that every day, you're going to get referrals or sell more products. It's a great reason to pick up the phone and call them. Like, I'm going to talk even specifically, and I'll give Humana props for this because they were, I think, the bigger innovators of the 3, 30, 60, 90 format of where. And we build these into all of our campaigns. We teach agents to do this and say, hey, at day 3 after you've sold a plan, that's when you should have a follow-up touch point to that consumer, because buyer's remorse kind of kicks in like, oh, crap, did I get scammed on the phone, or did I sign up for it? Is my wife going to be pissed at me? And does my doctor really accept this or not? Like they start to get like, it's been known like psychologically day 3 and then, day 30, day 60 and day 90. So like we build out campaigns and teach the agents like, have that text message, that voicemail, that whatever going out to your clients at day 3, do it again at day 30, and then talk to them. And your touch point at day 30 is, did you receive your card, your enrollment card? Do you know how to use your plan? If not, contact us, like, hey, at day 60, do you need help getting set up on your 90-day mail order plan? Do you know how to file and see your claims online? You have these touch points. And so, but why not incorporate one of those touch points for other products or throughout the year where, again, you can, I think your clients are going to appreciate it more. Yes, some of them might think, hey, this is my aggressive sales agent that's calling to sell me on something. But I think most of them are going to appreciate and respect the fact that you're calling them, trying to be like, are you good? Do you know what you got? Do you need any coverages that I can fill in the gaps?
Yeah, agents ask, how many times should I be reaching out to my clients? Well, first of all, if you have to ask that, you're not doing enough, right? Is it 4 times enough? More. The answer is always more, right? And if you are selling additional products and coupling them and bundling them with Medicare Advantage or anything else, you should be organized enough to know who you sold those to. So when you do those touch points, you bring that up. Like, hey, how's your Advantage plan treating you? Also, remember, you do have that hospital indemnity plan we talked about. If you have any questions, let's hit it now.
That's a good point you make about organized.
Mm-hmm.
That's big.
Yep.
That's probably the one thing that I hear about the most is that I'm not sure if I sold somebody hospital indemnity or not.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know what CRMs are available out there these days, but
yeah, we give everybody a free one. It's HIPAA compliant, all that stuff, right? So it's
there you go. You put it in notes.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Document exactly. Tag it. Put it in there. Absolutely. But talking about technology and CRM, since you went there, so you heard me in the training earlier today when I told all the brokers, and I said, look, when we're looking at products or carriers to bring on, we get solicited pretty regularly by different insurance products or companies, right? Saying, hey, pick up our product and go distribute and get us sales. It has to kind of meet a certain litmus test for us where we go, hey, if it's a company and a product, I have to look at it and really understand the products. And am I going to feel good offering this to clients? And is it going to reflect good on me and the broker? And is it going to be good for the consumer? It has to meet that criteria. It has to be something that pays the broker well. Look, we have tons of these ancillary and dental products and things out there. I'm like, you're shooting your shot, selling them a $40, $50 a month dental plan and your commission's $10. Oh my gosh. How are you keeping the lights on? It has to pay the broker well, and then it has to pay us well, because to be honest, it's important. I mean, we got a lot of overhead, we got a lot of infrastructure, and it has to be a viable product, right? And so GTL really does that. I think the commissions are great. The product is great. And I think that that's one of the things you guys definitely meet the litmus test. And, from a company that's offering, a lot of ancillary products, you have an AM Best rating. A minus
with a positive outlook.
There you go. A lot of these companies, these ancillary companies, are kind of fly by night. Like you're not poo-pooing on your competitors. So I'm saying it like it's me. It's not Demetri. We've dealt with some of these smaller ancillary companies, and they kind of pop up shop, and they've not been around very often, and you just experience so many problems with the onboarding process, with the commissions process, with tracking anything, with claims, with your clients. And then we've gotten tangled up to where our agents, are offering these products. And then at the end of the day, if you offer something that at the end of the day is not what they anticipated or thought that they were getting, or they have a bad claims process, then it looks bad on the broker, right? It tarnishes the relationship. And so I think that that's one of the reasons that we kind of want you on the forefront of people's mind when they're thinking about that. Because I've had a contract with GTL for, I don't know, you probably know more than I, a long time. But I can never think of any major snafus or issues that we've ever really had with GTL, honestly. So
that's good to hear.
Yeah, that's
other than COVID, when I didn't go on a trip, right?
COVID, yeah. Oh, jeez.
Well, that does speak to
because I can't go to the Bahamas because of COVID or something like that, right?
That speaks to the family-owned part of the business, right? Where you're not jumping into a call tree if you call in, right? You've got customers that are calling your customer service line. They pick up right away. Agents get support. I personally, if I have any of my clients that have hospital claims, I do those for them because it's so easy. The claims process with GTL, hospital indemnity, is probably the easiest I've ever seen.
So walk through that. So pretend talk to me like I'm 3, and explain to me what it is. So if somebody buys a hospital indemnity plan, isn't it like a UB? What is the form?
UB04.
Okay, I was going to say between you two, you should be able
Brian's
to.
got this.
So okay, let's say I want to get one of these plans. I actually am hospitalized. What is the claims process like?
Well, it's a simple process of downloading.
We're testing Brian here. You're gonna
of course he
watch
is.
him.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's why he was staring at me. He was giving me the side eye. So no, there's a claims. You can download a claim form on gtlic.com. Right. Most important thing is when you're selling these products, and Demetri can back me up on this, you don't want to tell the hospital that you have this product. I know it sounds weird to say,
Correct,
but I've experienced issues that way. Okay, and you'll have to go into that. But when your client has an event, hospital event, they ask for what's called a UBO4 form from the hospital. It's basically an itemized billing.
Admins time and date, discharge time and date.
It has the doctor's name, has the address of the facility, all that. And it's just a simple plug and play. You fill in the information on the claims form, and you email that along with the UBO4 to GTL.
What if that person is not tech savvy and can't attach?
Then we could take mail.
There we go.
You can take it in mail.
We could take mail.
That's why I do that's why I handle it for my clients, because it takes literally 10 minutes.
Brian, thank you. So if you're a good agent, do the service, talk to your client. If they're struggling with it, do it for them. It's a lot easier than mailing it. So, but yeah, easy process. Once they do that, submit it. How long is it until they're paid?
It's an 8-day turnaround, typically, with as long as we got all the proper forms, about 8 days.
Freaking awesome,
yeah,
right?
It's great. Our claims department does a great job.
And speak to why you don't want to have your clients tell the hospital they have this coverage.
So basically, when you're talking about folks that are, when you go to the hospital, the first procedure that gets performed is a walletectomy.
Yeah.
I'm sure
let's see how much you can pay. Yeah.
Let's see what insurance cards you have in there, and just start rifling them out.
How many $25 Tylenols can we give you, right?
So what they do is they put it on the form. They put the company's names, all these companies' names on the form, and then that's on an assignment of benefits form, basically, what that is. And if you're on that form, you're obligated as the carrier to pay any benefits that's due to the insured, to the actual provider.
Right.
And then if there's any dollars left over from that pool of money that came into them, then they have to wait for the refund from the provider to come back out to their insured. Mm-hmm. And we really do believe that the dollar should be taken care of and paid for by the insured. Let them distribute the funds how they see fit.
Yep. And I appreciate that explanation. I think a lot of people listening appreciate that too. Another thing I would like to bring to attention is how easy you've made to quote and bundle it. So I'll talk about CSG and other platforms out there, and that was, I think, kind of that integration's been on CSG for years. Years. And we have it on our website. A lot of people, we use the CSG mobile app and the quoting software. And
you're speaking of fill the gaps, right?
Yeah. Fill the gap. It's a great, so when that launched back, was it 7, 8, 9 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, CSG,
it's been a while, but back in the day when you could quote a supplement or an advantage on CSG and then fill the gaps and start punching in here's the advantage plan, here's the actual exposures, and then fill the gaps and do that. It took all the tough, let's be honest, salespeople, we're not mathematicians. You know what I mean? I meet a lot of salespeople that they're not great. Okay, hey, I remember I used to sell Continental back in the day, forever ago. And you'd have to get out the calculator and calculate the base rate to this. And you guys made it so easy with just, that fill in the gap feature, the integration, and just click the Medicare Advantage plan that you're going to sell or offer the client, and then just bundle it and put it in the actual presentation in the quote, and it just made selling it that much easier. So I think from a technologies perspective too, you've been able to integrate with a lot of tools, and that part of it makes the front end sales process a lot easier. So
well, there's that, but we started with technology. We were talking about this the other day.
Paper apps back in the day.
Well,
I remember I did your paper apps back in the day.
Oh my gosh. But even though we made it easy, we've always allowed for 2 people on one app. We always tried to make it easy in that regard in the paper world. But I think it was around 2010, 2011 is when we came out with our original iPad app.
Yeah, you were first to market. You were early on.
To be able to write a hospital indemnity on an iPad. Mm-hmm. And so obviously, we've progressed since those days of not just being just iPad only. Now we have mobile platform.
GTLIC on the link, yeah.
Yeah, we have mobile platform, GTLIC. But, so we're all constantly, I think all carriers are looking to do the same thing, just kind of progressively get better and make it more robust and, just make it easier for you to do business with us. One of the things when you bring up fill the gaps that comes to mind is that if you go to our agent portal on our website, we do have something on there that's called Fill the Gaps.
Yeah, it's in the portal now.
So if you click on it, what that allows you to do, it allows you to put in the zip code of a particular client where they live in. You might not know what that MA is in that particular area specifically. And so you put in the zip code, it'll pull up all the MAs that are in that zip code. And then the client can
all 45 of them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then the client could tell you, it can tell you what the plan name is, and then it'll pull up on the side for you. Okay, well, here's the hospitalization copay for that particular MA plan. Here's your ambulance copay. Here's your outpatient, your skilled nursing copay, and outpatient therapy, I think it is. And then they'll show you next to it how you can match up a hospital indemnity plan right there, and then you can go right into a quote right from that part of the website too. So we're trying to do the other little things because, as much as I know agents are really, really, really good, they're not going to know every single nook and cranny of particular plans and zip codes. So we tried to do something to help them.
Right. And it is. And I think you meet them where they're at, right? And I think, like, going back to, you guys understand that the agent is like your customer, and if you do a good job and make the experience easy for them, they're going to sell more to the consumer, right? And I think it's like you have the app, you have the website, you have, do you accept paper forms anymore?
Yes, we still take paper.
So again, you have some old school agents out there that are getting a little long in the tooth, but they're still writing paper apps, and so I think it's great that you guys are understanding your audience and being able to adapt to them and make it easy for them.
Well, he brought up a good point, using that fill the gaps feature. Obviously, if you're selling the client in person and you already know what plan they have, you don't need to worry about what plan to choose. But I learned this from Dan, sell something, right? Even if you're on a phone call and you can't help that client because they have the best product available to them in their market for an MA, right? Offer this.
Perfect.
Right?
Sell them short-term care.
Yeah.
Ask them about that. Ask
Sell
them
something.
Cancer. Ask them, does your Medicare Advantage plan, does it cover everything for cancer? Well, I have a max out of pocket, and I have a, yeah, but, not really. Your exposure is whatever your MOOP is.
Oh,
right?
did your agent cover your hospitalization? No. How do we do that?
Right.
We talk about hospital indemnity with MA pretty exclusively.
Yeah.
And I think we all fall into that same trap. Yeah. But in reality, it doesn't have to be.
Right.
No.
You can be a med sup person. It could be someone underage. You can do it with. I know I might sound a little crazy saying this, but I think that a med sup person can use a hospital indemnity. It might not be a $300 a day for a 6-day benefit period. Maybe it's $100 a day for 3 days, but then I can get access to cancer benefit, or maybe get access to the skilled nursing rider, because that's, actually, if you think about it, the way that rider works, it's restorable unlimited number of times if they're out for 60 days or longer.
Yeah.
How many short-term care type skilled nursing benefits like that restore unlimited number of times?
Yeah, not.
It doesn't
I'm not
really
aware
happen.
of any. Yeah,
Not that I'm aware of either. So if there's one out there, apologize if I misquoted there, but I think I'm pretty safe on this one.
Yeah, and another thing I just I want to call to a little bit is, for us, running a business is challenging. Sometimes visibility and getting reporting and everything is challenging. And I think that over the years, I've seen you guys make enhancements to your portal, your login, where now you can see downline agents, you can see production, you have a lot of visibility, you can see policies in force, a lot of line of sight. So for people who are the GAs, the MGAs, whether somebody has 5 agents or 25 agents or thousands, just having that visibility is great. You know what I mean? And we don't get that with all the carriers. Sometimes getting data is a challenge, to say the least. And so I think that that's been a really good experience, seeing the enhancements. Can you talk about that? Or you kind of maybe alluded. I don't know if I can put you on the spot and say if there's any previews you can leak about technology. And I do, before we wrap, I want to talk about your final expense instant issue kind of product too. But
we're always looking to increase, to kind of get better. There will be some updates that will be coming out here shortly. Now, how shortly is it? Sometimes you have a good idea that you want something to happen at this time, but because of circumstances, it might get pushed out. So in the near future, we'll call it. There'll be some updates in that regard.
Yep, that's very good. I've witnessed a lot of those updates, like we were talking about the old days and kind of how you guys have progressed, through. And I'm looking forward to some of those future updates.
Yeah, there'll be some updates for sure. And one of the things I guess I want to kind of quickly mention, if it's okay, is,
of course, go for it.
I kind of talked about it earlier. Is that we tend to do we try to put a unique twist on products that we offer with GTL. That's something that I think is important, because some of these unique products some of the unique offerings that we provide can make a world of difference to people. So for example, we have a product called Precision Care. It's a lump sum cancer product that also has a benefit for genomic sequencing. It's provided by TGen, which TGen's an Arizona research facility out of Phoenix, and they're phenomenal people, super smart. I mean, it's amazing how smart people are in this world. But,
Right.
Yeah, I know.
you know, and just by being able to take a old concept, cancer insurance, couple it with a genomic sequencing benefit, now can provide people a better chance of beating cancer the first time, for example. That's one. Or on our short-term care programs, you know, if you're doing home health care benefits with our short-term care, we have a T-Care benefit, which T-Care is a benefit to help provide some provide some support for caregivers. Caregivers being, you know, a spouse, a child, a friend, relative, whatever the case may be, someone that's not with an agency providing support for somebody that's getting home health care. And there's a lot of folks that are caregivers out there that, you know, they don't sit there and run around with a sign, I'm a caregiver, but they're dealing with a lot of things. You know, they're dealing with their own family lives or maybe their work or whatever the case may be. They got some major things going on. They need support too. So by doing a assessment through T-Care, they're able to get some support, to be able to get some help and be able to, you know,
Another pair of eyes, like you said, right?
yeah. Be able to cope and then get a benefit get a lump sum benefit payable to them too, to be able to help them with some expense. You know, so, you know, that's one of the things from a product perspective. You know, it doesn't have to be specific products, but it's something that I think, you know, one of those things that I said, one of the great strengths that we have, aside from being our 10 years of, you know, from sales or staff at the office, our products support, our product mix is just super strong.
It is, and that's another valuable thing. It's one writing number. I'll tell you what's kind of a pain in my rear end is working with other companies, and it's like, oh, you want to sell Medicare supplement? Here's your writing number for that. Oh, you want to sell critical illness? Here's a writing number for that. Oh, you want to sell this? Oh, here's another writing number for that. There's some companies, because of the way they're fragmented, where, you know, to get their full product portfolio, you got to have 5-6 writing numbers. I'm not exaggerating for people who are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Multiple writing numbers for multiple products, and sometimes you have a different writing number if you want to go advanced commissions, or a different writing number if you want to go as earned. We still have carriers that do that and say, hey, we're going to give you 2 writing numbers, and if you want to go as earned, put this writing number on. If you want to go advanced, put this one.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
There's a lot that people don't understand that we track on the back end, and it's nice with GTL. It's like you get your writing number, and you can sell MedSup, you can sell critical illness, you can sell the short-term care. You can,
One contract, all products.
You can get it all, and so that is one of those things too that we're telling agents is valuable when you start to look at your product offering and your portfolio and what you got in the tools you got in your tool belt. You know, it becomes very cumbersome to track like all these different carrier appointments and keep them all straight. You know, obviously agents should have like a CRM or notes or something where they're tracking all their carrier writing numbers and all that, but it's a pain. And that is one nice thing of just, it's a one kind of place where you can go and get all those products. So I do like that.
And I don't want agents to assume that all their clients are looking for is hospital protection, right? I saw one of your slides in your training deck. It amazed me. It was an 8-day hospital stay for $350 a day in the hospital. It had skilled nursing, had lump sum cancer, and ambulance for a 67-year-old for a $56 premium. No, it was $76 premium. Still, that's a phenomenal coverage point.
Yeah, I mean, like when we're talking about from the training deck specifically, for me when it comes to, I want to take care of the MOOP. That's what I'm concerned with. You know, I want to present an option that's going to be, this will take care of the major things that can have hurt you, because the average person that's 65 to 75, their savings account is $8,000. And that's, you know, you can look it up on Google, guys. You know, go Google it up there. Average median savings account for seniors, it's $8,000. And I promise
that's a shame. Yeah, it's real sad.
I promise you, they're not saving that $8,000 for the co-pays and maximum out of pockets that they're going to have. I'm sure they had some other aspirations for those dollars. And, you know, if I were to ask Dan, and I know his answer to this already, but if I were to ask Dan, hey Dan, if you give me $5, I'll give you $100. What, would you take that deal?
All day.
That's what we do.
Yep. All day. It's good. Good exchange there. The one thing, what about, I do have one thing operationally, an ask, and I don't know if I should be doing this on the podcast, but one ask for the home office is I would love it if on the ops side it syncs with like a nipper feed. just so that I don't have to send in manually. You know what I'm talking about,
Yes,
right?
I do know.
I get my notifications. That is the only look. There's only one thing that's a little irking. It's always when I get notified because I'm in all 50 states, and it's like, hey, you have pending commissions held because your New Mexico license or your Oklahoma license, and you're like, oh, okay, send it over to them because they're always renewed. Right. It just is not synced with NIPR, so we have to send over the license renewals. That's my ask.
I'll make the ask also for you.
To sync ops with like a NIPR feed, so it just automatically updates.
I can always ask.
That'll save a lot of paper pushing. You know what I mean?
No doubt about it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because we got to get that $20 in New Hampshire that we sold that one product.
Oh, yeah. Hey, North Dakota. Too.
That's right.
Those ones happen out there every once in a while, too. So yeah, I wanted to talk about, the full scope of the products, including, because we have agents ask us too, like, hey, I'm going to sell, for example, final expense, and I'm not a final expense agent. It's not like my go-to. But I've got hundreds of Medicare clients or ACA clients, and I want to bundle and cross-sell. I think final expense is a super easy product to sell to people. I really do. I'm not a huge, I'm just going to say it. I don't think it's a phenomenal idea to just be like, hey, the way I make all my money is being a final expense agent. I personally don't love that. I know there's people out there that do it, but I think it's a phenomenal ancillary add-on value to your clients. And so that's what more we get from our agents. So if you can, I like your guys's, is it still called, is it instant issue or how?
Jet issue.
Jet issue. Or
Simplified issue.
Yeah,
One
simplified
of those.
issue.
Yeah.
We'll call it. So I do like that idea. Can you talk about that briefly, like the product, how it works and how...
Do you know me about briefly?
That's okay. You got to use hands though too, Demetri. So
Yeah, we just came off a 2-hour training downstairs.
We're all
That's all over the place.
That's why we're all in sales. We're all maniacs,
The final expense product that we offer is called the Heritage Plan.
That's right.
And it's a graded benefit whole life product. So it's really designed for folks that have health issues. There's 6 easy health questions that the person would need to answer. 6. So if they say no to the health questions, a policy will be issued. But what does graded benefit really mean at the end of the day? Mm-hmm. So if an insured were to pass due to an illness in the first year, and they have a policy in force, of course, the beneficiary receive ROP plus 5%.
Right. Return of premium.
Mm-hmm.
hey, 5% interest, not bad.
Yeah.
And then second year, if the person were to pass through an illness, they would get 50% of the face amount that they chose.
Oh.
Which is pretty strong from that
It is.
perspective.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then the third year, which is the 25th month, the policy being enforced, they'd get the full face amount available at that time.
Okay.
But now, if the person were to pass of an accident, they still get 100% of their face amount, even in year 1.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, normally you see those 2-year ROP plus 5 or 10%.
Yeah.
correct.
And it's easy. And it's online, and you can literally be logged in. So I'm just trying to, paint the picture for if there's agents listening to this. If you're on the phone talking to your clients, you probably already have a lot of their information. If they're a client, you already have a lot of their information to almost pre-fill an application. You can talk to them, and you can go ask 6 questions and quote and illustrate. And right on GTLIC, when you log in, there's that feature where you can quote and enroll, and it's pretty dang easy, right?
Very easy.
What's the age range? What's the max, and how many states is that in?
It's in every state with the exception of New York.
Okay.
Age ranges from 40 to age 85. They're putting me on those.
Because a lot of them cap at 75.
I believe it's 85. It may go to 90 though too. I don't remember off the top of my head. And then
The maximum benefit.
the maximum benefit is $20,000
Okay.
of face amount.
Perfect.
Yeah, really strong.
So,
Very strong.
Really strong.
you said you have ACA side of their house too that you work with. So we do have a life insurance program for the younger side too.
Good.
So triple term.
Did we give you the tour yet? I can't remember of the
A little bit, yeah.
space a little bit. Yeah, I was going to say we do, and we have that. That's good because that demographic, we definitely have that whole, cradle to grave, right? That we're trying to kind of offer to everybody. Right?
Absolutely. I
What's
understand.
wrong with that? Right?
Grave. I love it.
Cradle to grave, man.
Final expense side.
Look, that's like me.
Okay.
I would always tell people, hey, look, I'm betting I'm going to outlive you. So, I'm going to be your agent for life. Unless I get hit by a bus or something.
You're the one that says you don't want to live past 75.
I told my wife any day past 75 is borrowed time.
There you go.
And I'm
Okay.
winning is what I said.
That's awesome.
And she knows because she's just like, Dan, stop talking like that. And I'm like, no, like, I don't know, like what it looks like when I'm 80 and 90. I don't want to be decrepit, you know? So I'm like, any day past 7, I'm happy. If I hit that goal, I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, it's like everybody. I know exactly what I should be doing. I should be getting all this sleep. I should be eating all these healthy foods. I shouldn't be drinking. I can go through my list.
There's a lot of shoulds.
Yeah, and it's like, but everybody knows it. It's all pretty common sense. And so since I don't follow them all, it's like, what is the chance of, you know, and men, we don't live as long as women, you know? So it's like, from a combination of just genetics and bad decisions and everything else that gets factored in, we just don't.
I'm talking about bad genetics. Jeez, that's me.
so I'm just like, we'll see. I'm on track, just so everybody knows. I'm on track to well exceed that goal, by the way. You know what I mean?
You know, there's only one ask I'm gonna actually put out there if it's cool with you guys.
Yeah.
You got the floor, man.
Here's my one ask. You guys heard my story about what I've gone through over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So the one thing I will ask is, for all you agents out there, whoever, anybody, make sure if you guys, you know, get yourselves a cancer plan. If it's available in your state, get yourselves a cancer plan. I've been diagnosed with cancer twice in the last 5 years, but I'm not saying this as a sad story or anything. It's just more of a cautionary tale, I guess, is a better way to go from your perspective. You know, when I first got diagnosed, I was 50 years old. I thought I was too young to have cancer insurance, to be honest with you.
You're still invincible.
Right. I'm totally invincible. But I got diagnosed at age 50. So, you know, my ask to you, and especially being an agent, is go get yourself a small plan. It doesn't have to be a big number. It could be $15,000, $20,000, $15 a month, $20 a month, whatever the case may be. But please go take a look at that, because it's positive from a number front. Personally, it'll be positive because any cash that, you know, if it does happen, knock on wood, it doesn't, you'll have some dollars to be able to help offset some expenses you'll have. But more importantly, as you're trying to present the cancer plan to your clients, you'll be able to say to them, well, I also have a plan myself.
Right.
And the power of being able to say that to a client, it goes a really long way.
Yeah.
Well, I would, and being ignorant, because I've been out of pocket a little bit for years, is there a reoccurrence rider on there?
Depends on the cancer plan, but if it's our cancer, heart attack, stroke, yes. Okay. If it's our precision care, there's not.
Okay, very good to know. And I would add to that. I mean, we were having lunch and we were just kind of chopping it up, talking a little bit before. I was mentioning it's so weird that we're in the business and we've seen this trend of like an agent acumen level kind of degrading over time a little bit. There's been a lot of agents coming into the space and again, agents, I'm saying this as like, I'm not trying to poo-poo on agents. I'm saying like, I want to help you become better, smarter, qualified professionals that add value to your clients. And, you know, and we find that so many agents, we were joking about it, they have insurance on their phone. They have a $1,000 or $1,200 iPhone or whatever. And, you know,
$30 a month.
You talk to people and they go to Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile and they're paying $30 a month,
$25-$30 a month
insurance
for the newest iPhone,
and they're paying insurance on their phone, and the thing's $1,000 or $1,200, whatever it is, to replace a phone.
Even if it's $1,500,
but still, they're willing to pay $30 a month to insure their phone, but they don't have life insurance, and they don't have cancer insurance. Right. They don't have mortgage insurance. They don't like all these major things in life. When you think about like a risk and exposure and transfer of risk and covering yourself so you can sleep at night, it's like, dude, DoorDash one less meal per month. Or something, or Uber Eats, or whatever. Don't go out 1 month. Buy a cheaper bottle of liquor, whatever that is in your life. Like, do one little thing, and you could really buy insurance and sleep better at night.
Cut down to a $12 cigar instead of a $40 cigar.
There's just tiny things, and it's like, just make it a priority. You know what I mean? And it really will make a very impactful difference. And you gotta live it in order to kind of share it and press that upon your clients. You know
we were asking the agents downstairs. You posed the question, how many have a cancer policy? 2 people raise their hand, right? And then we posed the question, how many of you know someone who has cancer, who has passed from cancer?
Everybody
raised their hand. It's crazy. On that cancer policy, does it pay, does it pay on diagnosis or treatment?
It's upon the diagnosis of cancer.
That's a huge, that's a huge thing to know.
Cancers,
yeah. Very big.
A lot of plans pay on treatment.
It's a big deal, guys.
Yeah. It really is cool. The one thing I've hit on a few times, I'm gonna do 2 things really quick. Number one, We've been growing this podcast a lot, like very incrementally over these past, like we honestly, like I've been shooting podcasts for about almost a year now is all, but every single week consistently and sometimes 2 times a week. And that's what we've been putting out. And we've just found finally, we started finally growing it over the last 6 weeks, but we've been adding, what is it, Matt? I had to ask, like 7,000 subs in the last couple weeks, something like that. High, close to 8,000 subscribers or something in just 6 weeks. So wow. We get a lot of listens, and so we have a great growth. We thank you to all the people listening. We really very, very much appreciate it. Please comment, tell us what you want to hear on the podcast, what's important, what's good to you. Please do that. Engage with us, because we're trying to do this for you, like the agent that's out there in the business. Like we want this to be a resource for you guys. And then I guess to wrap, Demetri, any last remarks? This is your soapbox, man. This is your last. We have to wrap usually before an hour, only because again, everybody has ADD and they don't listen. They're hitting the skip button.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to come out to Utah. I'm a Chicago kid out here amongst the mountains. It's actually very pretty down here. So if you guys haven't been down to Utah, get down here. It's pretty cool to see. It's I'm always in awe of mountains, but from a business perspective, really, I know at GTL we really do appreciate the business that you guys do with GTL already. If you're not currently contracted, please reach out to Agent Boost. They can definitely take care of you and get you contracted. One contract, lots of products available for you guys. So you definitely have that option. And so we appreciate it. And hopefully you guys have a great AEP this year and have it be successful with a lot of cross-selling. A lot of cross-selling, because it becomes more beneficial for you than you think, when to have a lot of cross-selling happening, because the next thing you know, you start looking at the accounts and the numbers start growing incrementally. You're like, oh, holy cow! Yeah. Why wasn't I doing this earlier? Right. So with that, thank you, Dan, Brian, appreciate it.
Been great to have you.
I appreciate the commentary. Again, we really appreciate the partnership. And you kind of segued into the wrap that I was going to do. And just remember, like we always tell people, this is a relationship business. Insurance is. And whether you're having that relationship with your client or like we do relationships with carriers and carrier partners, you've been one of those valuable relationships that we have in the industry. So we value that. We appreciate it. And, we thank you for it.
Yeah.
So
Appreciate it.
All right, y'all. Catch you next week.
Agent Boost.